Welcome to day 6 of our Chakra Yoga Healing series. If this is your first day performing a class with us in this series, I invite you to check out the Day 0 video. There's a link to that in the comment section down below. When you're ready, afford yourself a moment to get comfortable, peacefully detach from any distractions, finding a gentle yet dignified posture, perhaps closing the eyes, easing in. The theme for our Day 6 Sublime Stability yoga class is the element light. Beyond the earthly realm, light is our faculty for perception and discrimination. Light is our seat of wisdom, our seat of consciousness. Harmonizing our appreciation of the 5 elements, we will nurture the light within us, our creativity, and inspire balance into our sphere of existence. According to yogic tradition, light is embodied in the Ajna Chakra, also referred to as the brow or third eye center. The organ of the Third-Eye Chakra is the mind. When awakened, psychic abilities and siddhis, also known as superpowers in Sanskrit, develop. The third eye chakra is related to the act of seeing, both physically and intuitively. As such, it opens our psychic faculties and our true understanding, allowing us to see the bigger picture. A healthy third eye chakra identifies with illumination and self-reflection. I imagine that you are familiar with our use of affirmations if you have been joining us in this series. The affirmation that we will be working with today is light is always within me. Light is always within me. If you feel a connection to this powerful phrase, I invite you to recite it as often as you like, both on and off the mat. Lean into what feels good for you. Additionally, if you appreciate the idea of visualization, you might like to embody the essence of the color indigo resonating from the Ajna Chakra, the brow center, as we go about today's class. You might like to take this opportunity to set an intention. And on your next inhale, we'll extend our arms overhead, joining the palms together. Exhale, mindfully guide the palms to heart center. We'll take 3 cleansing breaths to start practice. Gradually inhaling through the nostrils and exhaling through the mouth. Humbly bow your chin towards your chest and blink the eyes open. Namaste. Okay friends, we'll start practice with a seated twist. You might like to cross your legs. On your next inhale, we'll extend the arms overhead, joining the palms together. Exhale, rotate the torso to the left and float the arms down. Perhaps tenting up onto the left fingertips behind you, gazing behind that left shoulder. Using the outer edge of the right hand to press into the left thigh. Mindfully release. We'll swap the cross of the legs so the opposite shin is in front. We'll take this stretch on the other side. Inhale, float the arms up. Exhale, find a twist on the right side. Steady breaths. Mindfully release, coming back to center. Finding a side body stretch, we'll walk our left fingertips over to the edge of the mat, lowering down onto the forearm, extending the right arm overhead. Exhale back to center. Inhale, walk the right fingertips out, lower down. A few more times, flowing with the breath. Finding your rhythm. Warming up the body. Really articulating each movement. Returning to center, we'll face the short edge of our mat, coming onto all fours, tabletop position, Malasana. Knees are hip-width distance apart, hips are squared, wrists are in line with the shoulders, core is engaged. Find length through the crown of the head and out through the tailbone. On your next inhale, we'll scoop the chest forwards, broadening across the heart space, gaze up. Exhale, press into the palms, curl and round, chin to chest. Few more times, finding cat and cow, flowing at your own pace. On your next exhale, we'll pause in cat pose, staying here for a moment, breathing into the ribs, feel yourself expanding through the back body. Feeling a lovely stretch along the posterior chain. Gently returning to center, we'll tuck our right toes under, extend our right leg back, engage the core. Inhale, float the right leg up to hip height. Hips are squared, foot is flexed, right toes and kneecap are facing the earth. Steady breaths. Either staying here or joining us in bird dog, extending the left arm at shoulder height. Feel yourself growing taller through the fingertips. Palm is facing towards the midline. Can you soften the muscles of the face? Are there any regions of the body where you're storing tension? Simply observing. No judgment. You might like to join us in Garudasana, tiger pose. Flexing the right foot, grabbing a hold of it with the left arm. Finding a lovely heart opener, back bend. A gentle stretch for the hip flexors. This is a great posture to wake up the spine in the morning. Or release tension at the end of the day. 2 more breaths. Mindfully release, lower the arm and the leg down. If you'd like to take a round of cat and cow, and we'll take this on the other side, tucking the left toes under, extending the left leg back. stabilizing your foundation. And when you're ready, floating that left leg up to hip height, engaging the glutes, engaging the hamstrings. If you notice that left hip externally rotating, mindfully guide it down towards the mat. Can you slow down the breath a little more? Maybe coming into bird dog. Two breaths here. You might like to join us in Garudasana as we flex the left leg, externally rotating the right arm to grab a hold of that left foot. How high can you lift that left leg? Can you broaden across the heart space a little more? Feel yourself exhaling any tension. Feel yourself opening up to the receptive mode for love, compassion, truth. Perhaps reciting the affirmation to yourself, light is always within me. 2 more breaths. Mindfully release, lower the right palm down under the shoulder, lower the left leg down, maybe taking a round of cat and cow. From tabletop position, we'll tent up onto our fingertips, engage the core, draw the right knee towards the chest and guide the right foot down between the palms. Coming up into a low crescent lunge, Anjaneyasana. Squeezing the inner thighs, feeling a lovely stretch along the left psoas. Breathe. One more breath. Floating the arms down, we'll join our palms together in Namaskar Mudra, rotating our torso to the right as we come into a twisted high lunge. Tucking the back toes under, extending the left leg, using the outer edge of that left tricep to press into the right thigh, helping you lift up and out of the torso, lengthen the side body. Perhaps gazing over that right shoulder, the right elbow, staying high on the ball of the back foot. Breathe. One more breath. Turn to face the top of the mat, plant the palms down, step the left foot up to meet the right, forward fold. Maybe finding ragdoll, interlacing the fingers around opposite elbow, softening the knees, softening the neck. Planting the palms down onto the earth, we will come up into halfway lift, Ardha extending the legs. If you have blocks, this could be a nice opportunity to bring the earth a little closer to you. Exhale, fold. Once more, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Grounding down through the heels, rolling up to Tadasana, one vertebra at a time. Joining the palms together at heart center. Floating the arms down by your side. Light is always within me. Inhale, extend the arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold, bend the knees. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the palms down, step the right leg back. Point the toes. Coming up into a low crescent lunge, Anjaneyasana. The left knee is in line with the ankle. Breathe. One more breath in low crescent lunge, and we'll join our palms together at the heart center in Namaskar Mudra prayer position as we take a revolved, twisted variation of this posture. Tucking the right toes under, extending the right leg as we lift up and out of the pelvic bowl. Finding a balance between strength and relaxation. Finding your edge and breathing through it. Shifting the gaze towards the top of the mat, plant the palms down, we'll step the right foot up to meet the left, forward fold. Allowing yourself to hang heavy. Inhale, extend the legs, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold, bend the knees. Twice more, finding your cadence. Rolling up to Tadasana, taking as much space as you would like. Affording yourself a moment to reconnect with the breath, reconnect with your intention, your affirmation. Inhale, extend the arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Plant the palms down. Step the left foot back. Step the right foot back. Plank pose, Valakasana. Core is engaged, strengthening the outer hips, the glutes, the quadriceps. Staying high on the balls of the feet. 2 breaths here. Shifting your hips up and back, downward dog, Ardagomokasana. Adjusting the stance as needed. And finding stillness or movement, leaning into what feels right for you today. Doesn't matter what any other day has felt like. Honor your body, your mind in this practice. Grounding down through the left leg. On your next inhale, we'll float the right leg up, three-legged dog. Externally rotate the hip, flex the knee, drawing the heel to the glute. And we'll begin to create some circular rotations with the knee. Really warming up the ball and socket. Perhaps finding some rotations in the opposite direction. Re-extending the leg, shifting your weight forwards, tiger curl, guide the knee to the chest, and gently place the right foot down, pivoting on the back foot, heel in, toes out. Virabhadrasana, warrior one. Doing your best to square the hips to the front of the mat. Gazing up. Steady breaths. Lowering the arms down by your side, interlacing your fingers behind your back. Inhale, gaze up, expand the heart space. Exhale, fold forward, extend the arms overhead, bringing the torso to the inner seam of that right thigh as we come into humble warrior. Really engaging the inner thighs, the glutes, the quads to help you stay lifted. One more breath. Squeezing the glutes, the inner thighs together. We'll work our way upright, broadening across the heart space once more. And floating the arms up to join the palms. Pivoting on the back foot, we'll come to face the long edge of our mat, heel toeing the feet closer together slightly into a wide-legged stance. Folding forward, maybe guiding the hands onto the hips and onto the mat. Wide-legged forward fold. If you are limited in your range of motion, you might like to heel toe your feet slightly further apart, facilitating a greater ease with the fold. And if you're feeling slightly more flexible, you might like to narrow your stance, allowing the head to rest on the earth. Steady breaths. Planting the left palm down on the earth under the midline, we'll extend the right arm overhead, rotating the torso to the right. Lowering the right palm down, taking this twist on the other side, left palm extends to the sky. Once more either side, flowing with the breath. Returning the palms underneath the shoulders, heels in, toes out. We'll come up into goddess pose, a wide-legged sumo squat. Tucking the core slightly, the pelvis, so that we're not arching into the lower back. Arms are extended overhead, joining the palms together, creating space between the earlobes and the tops of the shoulders. Perhaps lowering your palms to the heart space. From here, we'll raise our right heel up off the mat. Can you get those hips a little lower? Breathing through any tension. Mindfully lower the right heel down and we'll raise the left heel up off the earth. Finding stability. Exhaling any tension. Softening the muscles of the face. Unclenching the jaw, perhaps inviting a smile onto the lips. Gently return the left heel to the earth, extend the legs, well done. Heel toe the feet together. We'll turn to face the short edge of the mat. Afford yourself a moment in Tadasana. Light is always within me. On your next inhale, extend the arms overhead, join the palms together. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Step the right leg back. Step the left leg back, plank pose. Finding engagement. Staying strong. Staying focused. One more breath. And mindfully guiding the hips up to downward facing dog. Allowing the heart to melt towards the earth. One more breath in downward dog, grounding down through the right foot. Inhale, float the left leg up, three-legged dog. Externally rotate the hip, flex the knee, draw the heel towards the glutes. Begin to create some circular motions with that knee, lubricating the hip joint, finding your range of motion, and rotating the direction. From here, re-extend the leg, three-legged dog. Shift your weight forwards, tiger curl, left knee comes towards the chest. Gently guiding the foot down onto the mat, pivoting on the back foot, warrior one. Finding any adjustments. Remembering that if a posture doesn't resonate with you, you are always free to make adjustments. Change the posture entirely. Really listen to yourself. Listen to your intuition, your inner guidance system. Float the arms down by your side, interlace the fingers. Broaden across the heart space, gaze up. Exhale, fold forward, humble warrior. Feel the energy channeling towards the Ajna Chakra, the brow center. One more breath, mindfully coming upright, keeping the fingers interlaced, gaze up once more. Gently release the bind, join the palms together above the head. One breath here. Pivoting to the right, we'll extend both legs, maybe heel toeing the feet in slightly as we come into a wide-legged stance. Perhaps placing your palms on your hips or extending your arms out wide, forward fold. Lowering the palms down onto the earth. Letting go of any tension. If a fold is not in your practice today, you might like to stay up on your fingertips. It's entirely up to you. For a deeper variation, stretching the shoulders, the chest, the top of the back, you might like to interlace your fingers behind your back, extending your arms overhead towards the earth. Breathe. If your arms are in a bind, gently release, lowering the palms down onto the earth underneath the shoulders. Bending the knees, heels in, toes out, will come up into goddess pose. Inhale, extend the arms overhead. Sinking the hips down. How low can you get those glutes? Really working on opening the knees here so we're not knocking the knees together. Staying strong. We'll find Garudasana, eagle arms, interlacing our fingers together with our left arm on top of the right. This is a great posture to stretch the scapula, the back, the shoulders. Breathe. Re-extend the arms, join the palms together, and we'll take Garudasana, eagle arms on the other side. This time the right arm is crossed on top of the left, maybe finding a double bind. One more breath. Gently release the arm bind and slowly begin to re-extend the legs. Well done. Heel toeing the feet together slightly. Again, we'll turn to face the short edge of the mat. Reconnecting to your breath, to this moment. Light is always within me. Inhale, extend the arms overhead, join the palms together. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, extend the legs. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold, twice more. Flowing at your own rhythm. Heel toeing our feet out, heels in, toes out, we'll come into Malasana, yogi squat. If this posture isn't accessible for you, you might like to use props, placing a block underneath your sits bones, or you might like to place a block under either heel. Really have a play around with what feels right for you. Maybe joining the palms together and pressing the triceps into the inner seams of the thighs, really helping you to broaden and stretch through the groin. Perhaps finding a stretch in the outer hips as well. Breathe. With control, we'll mindfully lower our sits bones down onto the mat and extend our legs out in front, Dandasana, staff pose. Maybe shaking the legs out once or twice, feet are flexed. Engage the core, broaden across the heart space, feel yourself growing taller through the crown of the head. We'll come into Ardagomokasana, half cow face, keeping the left leg extended, crossing the right knee over the left. This might be enough for you, getting a lovely stretch for the calf muscle, or you might like to cross the right leg as well as we come into a full expression of Mukasana. Ensuring that the hips stay squared and the sits bones are both grounded to the earth. If it's in your practice, you might like to get your shins parallel with the short edges of the mat. Or alternatively, you can bring the heels closer to your outer hips for an easier variation. Inhale, extend the arms overhead. Exhale, lower the palms to heart center. You might like to stay in this variation, or you might like to join us in a shoulder stretch, leaning into what feels right for you today. Inhale, extend the left arm overhead, flexing the elbow, elbows facing skywards, lower the palm down to the middle of the back. Externally rotating the right arm, lowering the elbow down towards the earth, joining the palms together behind the shoulders, finding a bind, finding a slight tuck of the chin, broadening across the heart space whilst softening the ribs. We're not puffing up the chest here. One more gradual breath in this shoulder stretch, mindfully releasing, roll the shoulders back a few times. Inhale, extend the arms overhead, and we'll find eagle arms. This time crossing the left arm on top of the right, maybe finding a double bind. Feeling your connection to the third eye chakra. The light is always within me. One more breath. Gently lowering the arms down. We'll come into a forward fold, keeping the legs where they are. If it's in your practice, allowing the belly, the chest to melt atop of that front thigh, the top thigh. You might like to use props here to help you keep a neutral spine. And listen to what feels good. Wherever you are in Mukasana, beginning to guide yourself to an upright seated position, mindfully uncrossing the legs. You might like to fan out the legs once or twice, It can be quite nice to invite some movement into the hips after that static posture. And we'll get set up to take this on the other side, extending both legs. We'll come into Ardagomokasana, crossing the left leg over the right, keeping the right leg extended, stacking the knees. And if that's enough for you, staying there, you might like to come into full Gomukhasana. Really depending on what you'd like to stretch today, they offer quite varying benefits. Half cow face really enables you to stretch into the calf muscle, the hamstring, whereas full Gomukhasana works the outer hips. Perhaps joining the palms together at heart center, closing the eyes. Or you might like to find a shoulder stretch. Flexing the right elbow skywards, palm faces towards the back, externally rotating the left arm, flexing the elbow and finding a bind behind the shoulders. Breathe. Mindfully releasing from the shoulder stretch. Inhale, extend the arms overhead, and we'll find eagle arms on the other side. This time the left arm is crossed over the right, maybe finding the double bind, and really moving the arms around left to right, up and down, finding any regions of the body where there might be a little bit of sensation, and breathing into that region. Gently releasing the arm bind, well done. We'll set up for a forward fold. Keeping the legs crossed in Gomukhasana, finding your variation of a forward fold. You might like to close the eyes here, remembering that it's really about what the posture feels like, rather than what it looks like. Trust your intuition. Trust your inner guidance system. Breathe. One more breath. And mindfully working your way upright to a seated position, uncrossing the legs, finding any movement that feels good for you. We'll extend both of our legs out in Dandasana. You might like to internally rotate the hips once or twice. And in your own time, finding stillness, feeling a lovely lengthening of the backs of the legs, the torso, maybe closing the eyes. We are going to set up for headstand, Shavasana. If this is not in your practice, you are more than welcome to take any variation that you'd like. You might like to rest in child's pose, practice a bridge, downward dog, or any inversion of your choice. We'll come onto our shins, placing the palms in the lap. Roll the shoulders back and down. And before we get started, we will practice some shoulder protraction and retraction to really energize and fine-tune our awareness of this region of the body. Extend the arms out in front at shoulder height. Arms are shoulder width distance apart. Fingertips are facing skywards, really engaging the arms here, allowing the shoulders to drop down away from the ears. Feeling strengthening through the biceps, the triceps, the forearms, the wrists. On your next inhale, we are going to push our arms forwards by separating the shoulder blades apart from one another. Exhale, draw the shoulder blades back together. A few more times like this, flowing from protraction to retraction. Really warming up the muscles that are going to help us stay stable and focused in this challenging asana that is beautiful for stimulating the Ajna Chakra. Let's get right into it. Coming onto all fours, lowering down onto your forearms. Forearms are about shoulder width distance apart. Aligning yourself so that you're able to grab a hold of either arm with opposite hand. This will give you an indication of the relative width of the arms. From here, we will interlace our fingers together, finding a bind as we guide our head down onto the mat, resting the crown of the head on the mat, gently guiding your palms behind the crown of your head for support, tucking the toes under, raising the hips, walking your feet slightly closer to the torso so that we're really working on getting our hips in line with our shoulders. Keeping the legs extended, this is a lovely way to passively stretch the hamstrings. From here, you might like to practice flexing one knee at a time, bringing the heel close to the glutes, warming up the legs, equilibrating yourself to this inverse position. We will practice an inverted tuck just to keep us close to the earth, flexing one knee and the other, keeping the knees drawn to the chest. Hips are in line with shoulders, engaging the core, squeezing everything together. Really lifting up and out of the neck, up and out of the shoulders. One breath here, and gently lower one foot down at a time, re-extending the legs, toes are tucked to the earth. Take a straddle variation, walking our feet to the edges of the mat, raising both legs at the same time, engaging that core, using the adductors here to bring the legs together, squeeze the inner thighs, squeeze the legs. One breath here, and with control we'll extend our legs out wide to the side as we lower down in a straddle variation. Gently lowering the toes to the mat, guiding the feet back to the midline, legs are extended out in front. We will set up for headstand once more, finding your variation that suits you. And when you're ready, extending the legs, really squeezing the quadriceps, the glutes, the outer hips, the calves, the ankles, the toes, to help you lift up and out of the torso, taking any extra pressure off the neck, the head. Seeing if you can draw out your inhalations and exhalations. Channel your inner trust, your inner courage. Feel this energy streaming through the Ajna Chakra, the third eye center. Light is always within me. Breathe. Taking 2 more gradual breaths in headstand. And when you're ready, engaging that core, squeezing everything together as you lower down with control, keeping the hips raised over the shoulders, and gently lowering the feet down, bending the knees, coming into child's pose, Malasana. Feeling a lovely release along the lower back. You might like to gently roll out the neck side to side. Staying in child's pose, we will begin to walk our hands over to the right off the mat. You might like to place your left palm on top of your right hand, feeling a lovely stretch along the left side body, being mindful to ground that left hip towards the sits bone. Coming back to center, 1 breath here. And we'll take the stretch on the other side. Returning to child's pose, peeling up 1 vertebra at a time, we'll come into a cross-legged position, perhaps scooting forward slightly on the mat. And we'll roll down 1 vertebra at a time, keeping the core engaged. Knees stay bent towards the earth, bringing the heels in close to the glutes. We'll come into a reclined pigeon pose, Supta. Externally rotating the right hip, flexing the knee, placing the lateral edge of that right foot on top of the left thigh. Maybe interlacing your fingers behind the thigh, around the shin. Finding any variation that allows you to feel a stretch in the outer hips. Being mindful to keep the shoulders grounded to the earth. And from here we'll cactus the arms out wide, release the bind, and gently guide both legs over to the left, maybe turning your face to the right. Breathe. Mindfully releasing, uncrossing the legs, returning the right foot to the earth, and we'll take this pose on the other side, crossing the left leg over the right. Supine pigeon. Cactusing the arms out wide, allowing the legs to drop over to the right as you gaze to the left. This is a beautiful way to stretch into the lower back, the mid back, the outer hips, the IT band. Being mindful to keep those shoulders grounded. Gently unraveling, returning the left foot to the mat. And we'll set up for Shavasana, final relaxation, getting any props that you might like, blocks for under the knees, a blanket. Lean into what feels good for you today. Extending the arms the length of the body, palms facing skywards, and affording yourself enough space between the arms and the torso to facilitate an expansive breath. Legs are relaxed. Mindfully soften into the earth, into the surface beneath you. Give yourself permission to let go. Embrace this moment as you are, as it is. All is well, and you are safe. You might like to perform a mental scan of the body, observing if there are any regions of sensation or stagnant energy. Gently guide your breath there. Imagine what it would feel like to create space in these regions of the body. Allow yourself to detach from ideas of restriction and contraction, and open yourself to expansion and love and trust. Tuning into the breath. You might like to rest in stillness, recite a mantra of your liking, or follow along with today's affirmation if ever the mind begins to wander. Light is always within me. Light is always within me. You might like to focus on the subtleties of the breath, or attune your awareness to the third eye center, the Ajna Chakra, perhaps visualizing the color indigo, letting go, steady breaths. beginning to arrive in the body, becoming aware of the manifestation of the breath, inviting some small movements into the body. Perhaps moving the fingers, the toes, rolling the neck from side to side, releasing any tension from the back of the neck. When you're ready, bending the knees, rolling over to one side, finding a comfortable variation of fetal position. Keeping the eyes closed, we will mindfully guide ourselves to a seated position. Affording yourself a moment to find a dignified posture. Broaden across the heart space, softening the muscles of the face. You might choose to invite a smile onto the lips, unclenching the jaw, affording yourself a moment of love and sincere appreciation for your efforts to show up today and nourish the mind, the body, and the soul. Maybe reminding yourself of today's affirmation or of any intentions that you set for yourself that you would like to carry with you throughout the course of your day. From this point of clarity and trust, you might like to internally connect with your intuitive powers, your higher self. Asking if there is any guidance that is available to you. Or perhaps you would like some clarification, inspiration. Simply listening and embracing the stillness. Well done on taking a moment to connect to your higher self, to the Ajna Chakra, joining the palms together at heart center. Humbly bow your chin towards the chest. Namaste. Have a beautiful day.